how do you set the toe in on your Jeep? Stick around, find out. As a Jeep owner, I've been experiencing some crazy front end shimmies, vibrations. Been chasing it down, and now I'm to the point now where I get a little bit of a wobble. It's between 45 and 48 miles an hour. Usually indicates a tire issue, but I'm gonna double check my toe in and maybe actually set it to a little bit out and see if that makes any changes. So this is the procedure on how to do that in your driveway. You don't need a lot to do this. Some basic tools. You'll need a couple straight edges, a couple wrenches for the jam nuts if you need to make an adjustment, an array of bungee cords, and a couple tape measures. One caveat on tape measures is make sure they measure the same. I actually had to adjust the big one, the tab where it meets up to the end of the workpiece. It was bent, so they weren't measuring the same. So I had to fix that first thing this morning. Now they measure exactly the same. And that's really important because we're talking about fractions of an inch here. There's a couple different ways of doing this. Some companies are out there, they sell a bar that mounts to your lug nuts and gives you a nice flat surface. And you mount one of those on each side, but you have to be at basically ride height, or at least the suspension sitting on its own weight. So if you have to take the wheels and tires off, you'll want to put jack stands under the axle tubes. What I've opted to do is just not worry about doing that, and just got some cardboard, rode my tires up on it. That way I can adjust it and the tires will spin just fine on the concrete. I'm running a metal cloak steering, and it's really simple to adjust this. What you have to do is loosen up the jam nuts on both ends, and they'll give you flat spots right here to put a wrench to hold the bar. If I have to make an adjustment, I will have to loosen up my steering stabilizer U-bolts, which isn't a big deal. It's actually fairly simple to do. The hardest part is just getting your measurements right. I went ahead and used a pencil and marked where my U-bolts are hitting my tie rod. That way I can at least get that somewhat in the right position. The angle of this thing is kind of critical. If you get it too far forward, it'll hit your drag link. And if you get too far back, this angle here, you'll end up getting into this and maybe even out of the face of your pumpkin. So we don't want to do that. Try and get it right the first time. Might as well add a BFH to your arsenal. This jam nut it's reverse threaded. See, it's getting farther away as I turn it. And it was jammed on there good. The irony is, that's the one I usually have problems with. One on the other side is normal threaded. So what that allows you to do is turn this to make your adjustment. So let's get this set up to measure. Alright, now the trick is to get your straight edges kind of set up more or less center. I can't do it because of the side biters on here, so I'm just going to use some bungee cords, feed it through. Alright, once you get it, it should be more or less level with the ground and kind of going through the center of the wheel, something like that. And just do the other side. And here we are rigged up on the other side. Now we just got to string our measuring devices through and take some measurements. Alright, so there you go. We strung tape measures across front and rear. It takes a little bit of finagling to get it through that hole. And tighten this up. Just about 86 1/4. 86 1/2. So I'm a 1/4 inch toe in, and what I want to do is adjust this so I'm an 1/8 inch toe out. So let me make some adjustments. Alright, Alright, here you can see I've got it set now for 86 and 7/16. And on the back, 86 and 5/16. Gives me 1/8 inch toe out. So let's lock it all down. Alright, so we got our jam nuts retightened up. We had to undo it and redo the measurements a couple of times. But you want to make sure before you take this thing all the way apart and get everything tightened up that you double check your measurements. We ended up being 1/4 inch out and went back and did it. So now I'm going to tighten up this steering stabilizer, finding my pencil marks I made earlier. And then I need to align this angle here just a little bit. I'm shooting for dead center between the drag link and the track bar. And that worked for me last time, so I'm going to go with it again. And I have to keep an eye on it as I'm doing some off-roading and I get to mech stuff. These don't have to be gorilla tight, just really snug down pretty well. Just to keep that thing from moving around. One of these days I'll upgrade to one of those fancy schmancy billet ones. Alright, that should be it. Now all I gotta do is test drive. Alright, road trip. See how this does. Here comes my zone. Oh man, nice and smooth. No way. That couldn't have been it. I didn't detect one little bit of wobble on that. I don't believe it. Let's try it again. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different story once you get up to Arizona speed limits of 75 and maybe a little extra. Let's try this again. Gotta wait for traffic. Alright, here we go. There's nothing there, dude. Nothing there. Alright, so if you're having a little bit of front end wobble and you don't think it's the tires, try adjusting your toe out to about 1/8 of an inch out. Give that a shot. Alright, until next time.